Hi. Boy, this is the first time I'm doing my live, guys. On YouTube, since the restriction with the subscribers, um, and you having to have at least 50 subscribers to do lives. Well, I had no option but to try to build up a subscriber list to that amount, and then attempt a live again. So that's what I'm doing now. Don't worry about the wet hair, do. I have vlogs by the way, but this ban this band is my actually my wife's um exercise resistance band, right? And my son computer scissors. So also they broke my earphones. So because of that, I couldn't get the earphones repaired. I used a resistance band that was torn to hold the headphones up. Yeah. So I hope that this is actually being heard. I'll probably wait to see persons come on and find out if they are hearing me clearly enough. Or I can just continue to speak, and as persons come on, hopefully it actually does. So, guys, you see the title, real facts for men here, and even though I'm maybe particularly speaking to men, oh my gosh, this lighting is horrible. That's no. Okay. Mm. Yeah, even though I say real facts for men, this is definitely for everyone. So whoever it is that comes onto this life, whoever hears it in the future after this, I hope that you understand and benefit from it. So one of the biggest questions we have is why we are here to experience this existence. And honestly, it's a journey to that understanding. You see, just like in our physical lives, you grow up as babe and they have to be taken care of and looked after until we can then start thinking of by ourselves and then refine that thinking that we think by ourselves. Now we go through that process of learning from our experiences and the mistakes that we made. So too, your soul and your spirit does that as well, but at varying degrees. The flesh is a lot faster because the flesh is in time. The soul and the spirit, however, is not, and the development takes a lot longer. Thus, the flesh aspect of this soul and spirit regenerates multiple times as different forms of experiences on this physical plane to be able to learn more about itself. And each person that we see is somewhere along the point of this spiritual journey. So you may see persons that are invalids or they are physically impaired, be from birth, and these persons, their developmental journey, it has just begun, so they can't really do much for themselves. So the spirit wants to just be taken care of, just to observe what's taking place and what's going on. Someone may have Down syndrome, or someone may have ADHD, or someone maybe have some kind of syndrome that makes it difficult for them to actually have an independent life totally for themselves without some serious risk and harm coming to them. So those beings are um taken care of by other beings that on their journey was to learn how to take care of someone unconditionally, you know, and all of it, uh, all of it is really just to help you understand what love is from all aspects. All aspects. Everyone has a different way in how they view love. But the truth and the fact, because this same flesh body of this soul and spirit is incarnating multiple times into different experiences, which is what we call individuals. Each of our individual lives are simply experiences that these higher beings, these souls, and these spirits are learning who they are through and from, right? You are the vehicle that they operate on this plane. No spirit or being cannot access into this plane without being embodied by a human being or given access to by a human being. So when you understand this, you can kind of look at the different aspects of where persons are in their spiritual journey, not in their life. You see, someone could be 60 years old and that person doesn't know as much about spirituality as someone who may just be like 6 or 7, simply because of what they may have been exposed to at the young age. But that exposure at a young age was necessary for the soul in its developmental journey and the spirit, not so much the flesh. The flesh is just playing a part in a larger role. Where the church comes in here is that the church is a step along a spiritual journey. But most persons get caught up and think it's the destination. So they get the little isms and they get the little beliefs and denominations and all of these stuff. And they follow all these different religions and beliefs in the image of man and the image of a tree and the image of a lizard and the image of animals and all of these things, and they give form to it. And they say it's a him or a her, and they personalize it like if it's a being, a human being, not realizing that the force is all encompassing. No one definition you give can fit it. So it doesn't matter what you say it still wouldn't be it. Because if you think you know it, then you do not know it. And if you know it, you can't explain it because it's inexplainable. And most persons think they know God or what it is, or as they may say, He is, or they are. But all it is a force that is all pervading in everything and everywhere at all times. And everything that you are seeing, interacting or touching is simply the force interacting, interceding, and interfering with itself. Because nothing else can exist where the force exists, because the force is only one. So any existence apart from the force would mean it's outside of the force, which cannot be real, because the force is all that exists. The force in interacting and coming together of itself, forms these patterns that bounces off each other, creating light. They clash light. And these clashes of light based on the speed and velocity allows us to see it more clearly. Thus you see this is a red object, or this is a man, or this is a car. And all it is a force colliding and clashing with itself, creating different forms and images. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying here. The church is a stepping ladder, or a ladder, right? See that ladder that Jacob was climbing up here? This ladder from earth to the heavens, that ladder is the ladder of life in your spiritual growth. And church is just one threader on this ladder. Religion is just one threader on this ladder. And you may have to go through multiple churches and multiple religions so they can climb the ladder before you realize that is not the right ladder you're climbing. And as you let go of each treasure to hold to the next one, it's the same thing that you do in your spiritual growth. Each treasure is a belief, a limiting belief, a limiting aspect of life that hinders you from reaching to the truth of who you are. And as you drop every limiting belief that limits the power of God, that diminishes his excellence or its excellence. Again, even I may use English language, don't get caught up with words. Get the meaning of what it is at a deeper level. God is a force. It is a force. He is a force. Father is a force. It doesn't matter which word I use. Understanding the context that the word is being used, there's a deeper meaning to it. That life force, energy, is what gives energy to everything. Every sound, every light, every feeling, everything. That force is what's doing it. The actions of the thing, in terms of the consciousness of human being acting upon it, that has nothing to do with the force. The force is simply observing the interactions of the collisions. He is not the collisions. He's observing the collisions taking place. So there's neither good nor bad in his eyes. Everything just is. Everything just exists. 1 minute, guys. I was doing this and my daughter woke up and she pooped. So she doesn't want to leave me um until I clean her. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, you got go ahead. All right, go. Daddy's doing everything. Daddy's doing our life. Thank you, teacher, sir. Sorry about that. Back where I was. When I realized this, I started to accelerate my spiritual growth really quickly because I no longer was afraid by any teaching influencing me in going astray from who God is. Because I understood that everything is it. He's everywhere, in everything, through everything, with everything, on everything. Paul said that there's no length, width, height, breadth, depth that can separate me from the love of God. So even if it is I lay my bed in hell, here you will be with me. So where is there any escaping of God, the force? And that allowed me the freedom to explore. See, what did Christ come to do? To set us free. And I'm telling you, any belief that you're holding on that's limiting you from your truest and fullest potential that you know you can achieve is because you are not allowing Christ to take over. The Christ in you is a consciousness being birthed slowly from a babe and growing until that child matures. And most persons around the world believe that a human being is fully matured at 30. And so too, the spiritual child, as it matures, if it's maturing properly by continuously following the light, which is Christ, that this human child will eventually also attain that Christ knowledge or consciousness. But most persons get stuck holding on to the beliefs of other persons. They hold on to what their mother would have said, their father would have said, their pastor, their teacher, their grandma, their auntie. They hold on to those beliefs, and it causes them to be stuck at that level that that person was at, and they go no higher. See, but Paul says that those who don't live outside of the law, because what they're telling you is like a law. They're saying that you have to do this. If you don't do this, or you shouldn't do this. So they're creating laws. And you see, if you follow those laws, you have to follow all of the laws. But if you live apart from the law, then you become a law unto yourself. No, you become the operant power deciding what is true or not. Your word becomes law. And how your word becomes law is by you doing what you said you would do. If you said you're going to do this particular task every day at 1 o'clock or whatever, and you do it, that means your word becomes law. To you. But that's all that matters. You don't need to control anybody else. And that's the thing, most people get caught up with this. You do not need to control anybody else. You cannot control anybody else. You can only control yourself and your mind. That's it. Anything else outside of that, you're being manipulative, trying to control someone else. So what Jesus actually is teaching, that the church is totally misconstruing, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce the word, is each and every human being has the power to attain the Christ. Jesus the Christ, the one that was sent. Each and every one of us has the potential to become the one that was sent. Say many are called, but few are chosen, because only few are willing to drink of the wine and eat of the bread. And this is the deeper meaning and not the symbolistic of drinking the wine and eating the bread, which is drinking his blood and eating his flesh. But what does his blood and flesh means? Certain things is for you to understand, because if it is spoken, then it cannot be true. This is why you have to go to the Father for yourself. It cannot be through no one else. The Father alone has to teach you, because there are certain truths that no one can tell you, because it was only told to them for them to understand. And no matter how much this person tries to explain it to you, certain truths will not be understood. He said that Jesus spoke everything in a parable, and nothing that he spoke wasn't said without one. I'm paraphrasing here. Nothing he said wasn't said but through a parable. And then he said at the end of those parables, let him who has ears to hear what the Father is saying. Who just simply let who has ears hear. This is not the physical ears. Again, this is those who are perked up in the spirit to hear what the Father is saying, because the Father is spirit. The thing is, if you still don't understand and believe that you are attaining a Christ consciousness, Jesus also said that the Son is the only one who knows who the Father is. And he said that only the Father knows the Son. Yeah, you see him, but you don't know him. And if only the Son knows the Father, it means that you have to become the Son, which is Christ, to know who the Father is, as you would never know who the Father is. And only when you know who the Father is, then you will know who you are. Because only the Father knows the Son. The Son doesn't even know who he truly is. I won't want to stay longer. I'll come off here and let it just sink in to those who will be listening. Hopefully it helps someone to get a jolt to start taking their spiritual journey seriously. Understanding that everything that is taking place right now is happening for a purpose. And that purpose is to help you grow and become a better being to advance your soul and your spirit. And if that means you have to incarnate hundreds of times in a fleshly form before you fully grasp that love is the answer to all things. Because if everything is a force, it means that anything and everything that's happening, the force is doing it. That means you don't have to worry about anything. That's what Jesus said, do not worry. You do not have to worry about anything if the force is all that exists. When you understand this, you would love your enemy as yourself, and you would love your neighbor as yourself, because you would realize why Jesus said that it is the only law